End up having a whole show behind the scenes.
For real, man. Hey, yo, family, welcome. This lovely Saturday, May 11th. That's what they say it is.
Yes.
Um, today's the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan's birthday. Happy birthday to the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. All right.
Yes, indeed.
Did not know that. I did not know that. Oh man, we about to have a powerful show today. We ain't gonna be too long-winded tonight, but we're gonna get our point across strongly tonight. A lot of important things happening. Let me get to this quick commercial from King Simon, and I'll be right back and introduce my guest family. Be right back. Tell your friends we live though. This is gonna be a good one.
Numerovation with King Simon. Text me now at 347-496-1022. You could also take my course if you want to, but do text me for your sessions at 347-496-1022. You can also get my books on Amazon at Linktree/King Simon the Numerovator. Remember, you can book your session and get it done right now. 347-496-1022. That's 347-496-1022. King Simon the Numerovator.
All right. Without further ado, want to welcome to the platform Blue Pillar 44 and Rod Hayes. Welcome back, y'all.
Peace. Welcome. Thank you.
Peace, God. Peace.
Yeah. I had Rod Hayes is scheduled to come on the show next Friday, but I definitely wanted this brother to add on to this conversation. So I called the brother last minute. I called Blue. I called both of them last minute. I'm like, yo, we got to do something. Me and Blue is interesting, and just to start the show out, me and Blue was talking about the Northern Lights last year. I think it was December or November something.
Right.
And I was telling the Blue how that's one of the things I want to do. I might want to, if I pass away, I told him I might want to have my ashes thrown in that motherfucker out there, wherever the Northern Lights is. But we was talking about making a trip out there. I looked a little bit, but I just didn't think I was ready to make that commitment to go to Iceland or Norway where they be at. But it's here now in our backyard. We ain't have to go to Iceland, Norway. It's in our backyard.
Right.
It's some powerful shit going on in the cosmos, and I had to get these two brothers to let us know what's going on. The whole world is talking about the light. The sky is purple and green, all types of colors and shit, man. Let's talk about these northern lights in the U.S., the solar maximum, geomagnetic storms. What is really going on? I gotta hear from y'all two brothers. I guess we can start out with whoever wants to start. But yeah, what is really going on, y'all?
Right. We are in the throes of what they are calling a geomagnetic storm, a G5 geomagnetic storm. This is the highest of them. So just to give some insight, the sun, right, has eruptions of quote unquote solar flare. Plasma comes off of the sun and it emanates, where it is now creating a fluctuation or oscillation, because when this fluctuation, let's say the universe exists in a water bowl or in a fish bowl, right? Because it's all within a outer plasmic pocket of what we can consider to be invisible waves. So when that eruption happens, that fluctuation, there's a magnetic, if you will, like burst is headed towards this quote unquote plane of existence. Now, the way the science explains it, according to the model that science explains, and this is why we need a brother like Rod Hayes on the program, where, you know, if an alternative explanation is needed, hopefully the brother can provide it. But they say that the core of the planet has magnetism that comes from an iron core that's surrounded by plasma, and the fluctuation of both of those creates, once again, magnetism. So the magnetism from this planet matches or meets, connects, and collides with the quote unquote solar magnetism that's coming from the sun, and that is creating what's considered to be the aurora borealis, right?
Right.
We are quote unquote within the throes of that. If we understand it, it's an interaction or interplay between two planetary bodies. And if you are in the middle, or if you are in the flux of it, if you're the fulcrum of it, why is nobody speaking about what are the direct effects on our technology, our physical body, our physiology. Don't tell me it's going to shut down the power grid. Don't tell me it's going to shut down the internet. You're telling me that it has visible, tangible effects on systems and things. So when are we going to discuss what are the effects on us?
Got you, right?
So let's back up the car a little bit. Remember when you had me on here to talk about the Maherta?
Yes. January
remember?
this year.
Yeah. So remember I told you, because of the alignment, now we have an unrestricted path from the center of creation, or the solar system, or the universe, or however you want to call it. But it's a direct open link. So during that time, it was only a short period of time, but we get what's called source codes in the DNA that comes in by way of mitochondria through the matrix in the mitochondria. Okay, so once this frequency hit, it passes through the physical bodies of the humans on the way to the core of the earth. It strikes the core of the earth, which they say is an iron core, but that's the central sun. And it's not a solidified body, it's more plasmic in nature. Right. They call it the black sun in the Masonic lodges. Okay. So once those source codes went through the mitochondrial and went through the earth, has a mitochondrial counterpart in the soil. And all of these is accumulating information as those source codes reach the core. Now, the data is then transferred through Schumann resonance, right? Which sends a frequency wave out from the earth. These frequency waves, the closest planetary bodies with massive responses is the lunar orb and the solar orb. When the codes from the source, after it's been through the earth, go to the sun, the solar rays begin to program what we call ultraviolet radiation. Right? So when you see it's calculating the math on what needs to be done to alter the genetic code of the existing species, and what's the upgrades to come based on the accumulated data that's accumulated DNA fed it. So the sun sends out the solar rays and ultraviolet radiation. Now, there's only two things known to alter DNA that naturally. One is the UV rays of the sun. The other one is gradual change through the upgrade of the program by the experience of the people who's trading DNA. Right? They call that evolution. Right? But all it is scientifically, it's more of upgrades than evolution. Okay, so the Earth responding by sending back massive energy spikes on the Schumann resonance field. And then the sun is responding back to the earth by showering the earth with these magnetic storms, geomagnetic storms, right? And these storms is bringing in the information to correct the errors in the DNA on the orders of the source code. Right. So now the UV rays is aligning the DNA for what we call in the spirit community, they call it the Great Awakening. Right? Where the veil of ignorance, the slumber of sleep being lifted off the psyche of the people, they begin to go back to operating from a higher intellectual capacity than before.
Right.
Right. So this is the result when you gotta look at the atmosphere. The atmosphere is in layers.
Mm-hmm.
And the penetration of each layer from the solar rays puts off a different luminescence.
Different color.
Right. And when it get to the ozone layer, this is the double oxygen blue molecule. Right. The 44 blue, by the way, blue pill.
Yes, sir.
Crooked Man walking Angel Bay, which mean that these not only are these lighten up the atmospheric layers, it also has the propensity for massive what we call lightning storms.
Yeah. That's taking place in Ohio right now.
That's what we call Crooked Man walking across the land.
Yes.
The shocker.
Yes.
Walking lightning.
Hold up. Why you? Because I had something. Why did you say Crooked Man walking across the land? Right. Because I want to ask you something real quick, and I'm curious to know why.
That's the symbol for walking lightning, or what we call tribally called lightning storms.
Yes.
When the tribes call it lightning storms, they don't behave the same way as when the earth called for them.
Right.
And real quick, Rod. So the reason why I asked you that, when you first came on the scene, Rod, you kept talking about, because I thought you was from LA at first, because you kept talking about when the brothers start crip walking, right? You just kept talking about, we kept talking about crip walking a lot. So we got the, and by the way, Rod is going to be on my Patreon this Tuesday for the Not Like Us. It's going to be called Not Like Us. And whoa, family, it's some censored shit in there. It's some all types of information in this presentation that's going down this Tuesday on Patreon. So make sure you're there. But you came in the community and you mentioned crip walking a lot and dancing and how that was going to shake shit up in the spirit realm or whatever. So fast forward, we got a situation, the biggest rap battle in the history of hip hop, arguably, and it took focus off the battle that we, me and Rod's going to talk about that battle that's happening overseas. We're going to save that for Patreon because, they got all types of rules and shit. But more people were paying attention to this battle with Kendrick Lamar and Drake. And the final blow that everybody was like, Kendrick is the winner. It was like a celebration. The celebration song for Kendrick winning is Not Like Us. And the reason why I bring that up, everybody, it sparked a new wave of crip walking. This is the anthem. There has not been an organic anthem to come out like this in years, family, in years. And he got the whole world crip walking. When the video drops, I'm warning everybody. When Not Like Us, the official video drop, this crip walk shit is gonna be. It's gonna be you're not gonna be able to walk down the street without seeing a nigga crip walking. So I thought about Rod. I'm like, hold up. So the battle that took down Drake and the Six Gods was a song that all the brothers is crip walking. So I'm like, damn, I gotta ask Rod, is there any connection between this crip walking, the whole world crip walking now? The video's at like, what the video's at? The video's at 34 million views right now. When this video drop, y'all. Right. When this video drop, it's a wrap. But Rod, you got to tell me about the script walking shit because it make a little more sense now, Rod.
Yeah, when I first come out with information, sometimes it sounds far-fetched and unbelievable because we don't remember our culture.
Right.
We are manifest spirits of the earth in human form, guardians of the realm of the earth. But we have to use the spiritual tools in the physical realm. They arts and entertainment, not religion. The artist is more spiritual than the people following the religion to the letter. The people following the religion is more religious, but the people that's spilling out the truth of their heart, they speaking from the heart chakra. They speaking from what's called the true place.
Right.
These brothers doing these walks is ancient. This not modern. Crip walking or C walking and B walking are mirrors of the same energy harnessed from the red house and the blue house, the motherland and the fatherland. We use those. So when you see the sisters be rump shaking, that's called the sway of the matriarch. They call it for earthquakes. And these earthquakes will shake the ground because the matriarchs with the right frequency shaking their rump is telling the earth to shake. And the earth responds with an earthquake somewhere.
Now, real quick, can I just add on, because it fits into the science what we're speaking about? That is due to what? Because they are manipulating magnetic fields. Why? Because our master teachers told us that the shaking of the rump creates orgone energy. Why? Because her glutamus maximus, which contains, they said that the more glutamus, the more fat lipids that it contains, the more ability for oscillation. Like if you put water in a cymatics and you turn
talk to him, Blue,
right? The pattern that it's going to create by rumping and shaking is going to be more geometric. So the more complexity for geometry, the more that what? That light that's coming from the cosmos has to obey oscillation of sacred geometry. That denotes intelligence. So just like this light that's coming, for those that are more ordered or geometric in their physiology and their understanding of how to transmute light, they're going to receive the gift. So shorty with the fatty, she has more control on the sway of magnetism because she has her posterior is superior. Please continue.
Go ahead, y'all.
You gotta remember, the uterus is a musical instrument. And the musical instrument is insulated by the glute. Right? So imagine your kick drum. You ever see a kick drum and it got sandbags in it and towels and stuff?
Yeah.
Because it gives you a sharper bass. Right? So the musical instrument of the uterus, it sends out a song directly to source when the women are dancing. Different dances play the instrument in a different fashion. Example, in classical music, you playing the violin.
Yeah.
But in country music, you fiddling the fiddle. It's the same instrument, but it's used in two different manners with two different playing styles. Purple haze all in my eye. Excuse me while I kiss the sky.
Oh, man.
Blue Orleans, don't let me get you.
Yeah. So this is the same musical knowledge that the old blues players, when they played their instrument, each one of them is mimicking how they perceive the sound of the women around him uterus, but he don't know where it's coming from.
Right.
But he hear the sound. So he play it on his instrument. And then he can put words to it. Right? When he did that woman wrong, don't he always sing the blues? Right? And then he talk about how bad his life done been since she been gone.
Facts.
Right? Ain't no sunshine in the heart of the city. Right? Ain't no sunshine when she gone. He got the musical backdrop from the frequency of her dances as he translated it into music to play for the people. But he don't know where he hearing this music play at. And it all rides the wave of mitochondrial resonance, because mitochondrial resonance is the carrier of the love frequency, which is the root to all music.
Now, don't they tell you that 80% of language is body language? Right? Nonverbal communication and body language. So the nonverbal communication that you're always picking up is she's always transmitting, because they're saying that we are always in a state of fluctuation and vibration, right? She's always jingling, she's always moving, right? Her stuff is never in a state of flux. It's always creating waves and oscillations. So that's always creating music to our ears that we're picking up on our inner ear. And like he said, it comes out like we bleed it out when it's time to make the music. When them brothers going in the booth and they start belting out, and when they singing about her, listen to the octaves that's being hit, right? When she's singing about him, she's singing from her gut. It's guttural. It's a tonality that we can all appreciate. It can crack crystal, and it could also make you cry. I was at the African Music Festival, and Lauryn Hill was there. This is the first time she had found out that her husband cheated on her with the stylist. And it's the first time she brought the guitar out and started singing the music that will become the music that she sang on Uncut on MTV. Yo, when she was wailing and started crying on the guitar, with the guitar, because the guitar was screeching, but she started screeching, all the women in the audience started crying. So when the mystical art of making music, when you start merging sound, your voice, your inner instrument with these outer instruments, and you make a bop, right? Because it was a week ago Saturday, I was in the kitchen cooking at an event, and we heard that song come on, and everybody started sea walking, right? But I'm gonna show you how that was the ultimate. I mean, the brother's a genius, because this was the most Illmatic move ever. What color does the sea represent? What color is the Crips?
All day long. True blue.
What color is the 69 guards?
It's red.
So, So, no. Them folks over there that he is related to.
Oh, blue.
Right? Exactly. So one blue trumps the other blue. And when he showed you that blue can be beaten, they've been receiving beatings ever since. And a week later, we get the confirmation by way of the solar eruptions, right? And the oscillation of the upgrades that are necessary. Because the one thing that was also confirmed last week is that the blue over there were very much responsible for the altering of DNA that took place over that 2 or 3 year period that started in 2020. You guys know what I'm talking about. So that's the latest news that hit. And something has to be done to restore the DNA of billions of people who got their DNA inadvertently altered. So the sun has to send four X-class and G5s, and the upgrades have to be so intense, because what the brother was saying in terms of the upgrade for the DNA, it's like when you go into the beam and the light kind of scans you to see what needs to be done so they can repair you. That's what the sun is doing. Like he said, they're sending the signal down, it's hitting the core, you are in the middle of it, the core is bouncing it back, it's all plasma, and the upgrade and the information is being sent back about what needs to be done. But in the midst of it, you are receiving the upgrade. Case in point, when I woke up this morning, my phone said my storage was full. Every time these storms happen, all of a sudden my phone storage gets full. So if the black mirror of my phone is absorbing the light and the codes, and it is creating data, right, which is loading my phone up, that means that we're being bombarded with an excess of information and data. And if you have the quote unquote melanated spacesuit, then you are picking up and receiving this data as well. So I've been asking people, are you tired all of a sudden? And then the people that are active, that are in the gym, are you energetic all of a sudden? Those are the people that are transmuting this energy bombardment that's happening on this planet. So we saying tap in, because there's a lot of latent available energy and information for you to utilize for upgrade.
Okay, look, this is me and Blue Pill coming back together. Was it 2 years later?
2 years later, yes.
Remember 2 years ago, it was a concert, a Free Larry Hoover concert.
That's right.
In LA.
Right. Indeed it was.
Who was in it?
It was Ye and Drake.
Yeah. Right. Now, at the time that was going on, it was a chapter or a book in Revelation was playing out in the stars, where it said that the woman was heavy pregnant with child, and she was in labor, and the dragon was waiting to consume the child at its birth.
At its birth, yes.
Okay. That's what the star alignment was when they did that concert. Now, in the Gemini constellation, Virgo constellations are preeminent at this time, because while the dragon is waiting to consume the Gemini, the twin pillars is what she's holding on to. Right? They have art from Christian artists' rendition of the painting showing the dragon waiting to devour the child, and the woman is standing there, she's holding on to the pillars, and she's pregnant. And the reason why they're showing that, because they're showing us an artist's rendition of a stellar event, right? So now they wrote about it, they painted it, and it played out in the stars. Now, there's something called a turnaround. When the energy come back that's been put out. What's Kanye's zodiac sign?
It's Gemini.
What's Kendrick's zodiac sign?
Gemini.
So Drake now trapped between the two pillars.
The two pillars, yes.
Which is the Gemini flip. Of the beginning flips the end as they slay the dragon.
As they slay the dragon, right.
This comes from the hero's journey. If you go back to all of the great heroes, they all had to save the lady from the dragon.
Yes, the damsel from the dragon.
Right? The hero's journey is the blueprint for the pretender to the throne to have a seamless transition of power. As one age closes and a new age open, the people that's responsible for it, they watching these stellar events, and they watching what the people wrote about these stellar events, and then they watching how is it playing out in the human arena, because we playing the parts on Earth in our day-to-day life, never knowing that we all imitating one of them stars in the sky.
That part.
So when we see the codes come in, they binary codes, it looked like the streamer in the Matrix. But that's not how the ancients told us about it. The ancients showed us long arms reaching from the solar orb with hands on the end, touching on the family.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing. It's the data, the upgrades is telling you the holy drama. What we about to go through is already something that the ancients have mapped out by following the stars for a prolonged period of time.
Yes.
Cycles repeat. Some cycles take longer than others to repeat due to the amount of distance between the 2 points in which the energy returns. So this gives you a varying turnaround time. Some women have instant manifestation where they could be sitting there, they clasp their hand over their uterus and say, I sure need $50 to feed these babies. And then 2-3 hours later, somebody knocking on the door with a $50 check that they where she overpaid something 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And she ain't had no knowledge of it. Did it really happen, or did her manifestation cause a Mandela effect?
Mm.
Mm.
You see,
So
when you when you put it all together, it's explaining itself as it's playing out. We watching it, trying to figure out what it's telling us.
Mm-hmm. When was the last time the solar flares hit the U.S. in the manner in which it's hitting this weekend? Because once again, for those who came in late, this is something that not happens in the U.S. This is something you usually go to Norway, Denmark, Iceland for this. So when was the last time this happened?
They said something in this magnitude hasn't happened in over 20 years. But the major Carrington event happened in the 1800s. This is unprecedented in scope because the northern lights, right, reach all the way to the south. There's places in Florida that have even experienced it. A G5 solar storm says northern lights could reach all the way to the Caribbean. So we haven't even officially seen the hit of all hits because it just hit off the sun yesterday. So technically the gamut of it won't be here until tomorrow, for real. On Mother's Day, right? Salute to the Umis out there. What a way to inaugurate and show up, on a Sunday of all days. But yeah, they said about 20 years, but people in our lifetime have never seen this. And regardless, it's like even the conversations around the eclipse, let's put into perspective the time that we exist in now. Let's give preference to the now moment, right? So with everything else that we're seeing, for people to be seeing this particular event, and people have paid more attention to the skies this year alone, and we're only 5 months in, than they have in many other prior years.
Yeah.
Right. And then they're seeing all sorts of lights and ships and things in the sky. It's a very active, event that now people are so much more engaged with the entirety of this particular ecosystem we exist in.
Remember last year too, this is happening on Mother's Day. Remember last year on Father's Day was when the Schumann resonance went crazy.
It spiked out of control.
Crazy. So that's Father's Day, and now this is happening Mother's Day again.
When the fathers were celebrated last year, remember that? There was an outpouring of love for fathers, and all of a sudden the Schumann spiked, and that just shows that the heart chakra of the planet is corresponding to the heart chakra of specifically the melanated individuals on the planet, because they have a thicker, richer form of blood that is more oxygenated, which means that their magnetism by far supersedes anything else. If you were looking at a graph because they got all kind of graphs now that's showing you how the radiation is hitting different parts of this particular country and this continent, that's being done by man. That's not something that's happened naturally, right? Coinciding with the bombardment of ultraviolet radiation bombardment is happening. So they're attempting to offset it with their own things. But, back to the emphasis on why the woman in this particular case is so significant is because she replenishes her blood every 28 days, right? So her iron is stronger in terms of her blood. So her magnetism goes out further, right? If you looked at the EKG, they would show that her magnetism stretches out further, and she has a womb. So that's a whole nother mind. And that has the aspect of magnetism in it. So she's coming in contact first with the solar winds that are coming, these geomagnetic storms. They're going to impact her first because her magnetism touches that particular wind first. Hence the fact that she's the one that's best equipped for intuition, because she gets the information first before it materializes and become tangible. It also has to come through her because she has to give it form now. We give it definition by giving it reason and rationale. You feel me? But before that happens, she gets it in the dream as intuition, and it might look disorganized. Or I dreamt of two fishes. What does that mean once it gets downloaded? Somebody's about to be pregnant, right? Then the phone call will come through, and then you find out who. And then it has materialized and confirmed your suspicions and intuitions. So let's keep that in mind, that tomorrow is really a day to celebrate her for the way that she corresponds with the Father who sends the commandments or the instructions, you know what I'm saying? And she has the information about how to put the play together. And we end up down here on this plane as the play. You feel me?
You got to also remember, Blue, her mitochondrial is the relay of spiritual information into all of humanity.
It's the power, yes. And it's the powerhouse. Look, not only that, if you go and Google it right now, that's where you can find the matrix. There's a blue gooey substance inside the mitochondria, and it's literally called the matrix. So when we say there's no escape in the matrix is the mother. Hence the fact that that's the root word of matrix is mat, which is the matter of mother. So the matrix is physically inside of your body. It's in the mitochondria, which comes by way of our umis. And let's just pivot real quick. The interesting conversation is being had about what happened last week and the focus that was put on the difference, not about race, but about ethnicity, right? And the observation was, they're not like us because you are your mother's child. Even for that sect that he bangs for, the six guards, it's a maternal, it's a matriarchal one where you only receive descent through the mother. You feel me? So it's an observation about mitochondria, how information and bloodlines is handed down through the mitochondrial lineage by way of the mother. And this is how these particular religions and situations have been set up. This is how these covenants have been arranged. These are some deeper conversations that, you know what I'm saying, I hope we can have on. Maybe I had to tap into the to the Patreon with y'all so I can really to it.
Yeah, that's a Patreon conversation right there. Definitely.
We the inheritance comes from the motherland of the wealth of the family.
Yes.
So the mother disseminates the wealth to the children. If you want to undermine that, supplant that, Yakub that, right? You replace the motherland with the patriarchs, and you have to create a fictitious system, which is an elaborate illusion, a David Copperfield trick to make everybody believe that the mother is irrelevant. So you erase her out of your religions and you push a homosexual agenda in order to feminize the males so they don't stand up and fight for their mama.
Right.
That's what this is about, huh?
That's the root.
That's what we are.
It's the root of what this is about, right? Do you think, in terms of the Northern Lights, when we hear about it being in Norway and Iceland, and just the name alone, Iceland, it's so inviting to melanated folks. We don't want to go anywhere that's called Iceland. Do you think these areas with these stellar events for the majority of the year, I mean, just absolutely beautiful events happening in the sky constantly, do you think these places are the weather's heavily manipulated in these places to prevent people from going over there? Or do you think the weather might naturally be as cold as it is in some of these places?
Look, I was just having a conversation earlier on Facebook with a guy, and I was telling him, HARP is turned off. If you pay attention to the Schumann resonance and the solar activity, and then you can see what's causing the weather pattern to be freaky. Because the Schumann resonance is freaky as hell right now, and the solar flares and the solar flashes and the solar storms is freaky right now. So the weather on the physical earth is going to be freaky. This is the so-called prophecy of floods and earthquake in diverse places. Right? And Garvey said he coming back with the millions and millions of ancestors in the whirlwind. What's the whirlwind? That's the cyclone, that's the tornado, that's the hurricanes.
Right.
That's even the little dirt devils in the desert. Right? But it's also the whirlpools in the water. Right? So the ancestors, he's explaining us an old ancient science of when the ancestors start to activate the descendants to wake up and redeem the ancestors. They use weather patterns as signs for us, as wonders for us to read. Right? And then we start comparing like what we're seeing on the ground with what the weather doing, and we start seeing a whole story play out on the ground influenced by the weather.
Indeed. Damn.
People don't sunbathe on cloudy days.
Yeah.
Right? You don't go to the beach in a rainstorm. So the people responding to the weather in light can is causing energy to be moved in a certain way.
Right. That's why they have to call it forecasting, right? There are forecasters. In order for you to make predictions on models, you are utilizing data, right? And you're running it just how you do if you're doing trading. You're like, well, what did it do 6 months ago? What did it do last year this day? What are the 10-year patterns? You're looking for patterns so you can make predictions. And then you're looking at the 7-day and the 10-day and the 30-day cycle. That's just how you trade. And trading coincides with forecasting in the weather because it's something that operates on a lunar cycle according to the moon, right? So yeah, I mean everything.
So let me ask y'all this. Let me ask y'all this. The weather is what it is. Let's say the weather is what it is because the majority of the population watches the Weather Channel. When they tell us it's going to be 92, we believe it, and we create 92-degree temperature that day. If they say it's going to rain, we believe it. We create rain that day. Do you think if we had nothing, if television didn't exist, radio didn't exist, we did not have something called the Weather Channel, do you think the weather that we experience will be different now? Like, is there media, the magic of the media, the only thing that keeps the weather the way it is right now?
Look, before TV, before radio, we had something called an almanac. The farmer's almanac, every farmer had one. And they knew when to plant their crops by the almanac, what the weather was going to be during the planting season, how many days. All this was already plotted in the almanac before there was a Weather Channel to look at. And when we have the luxury of comparing the almanac's predictions in the past with the actual events in the past that they was predicting, because we beyond those things. So when you look back, you find out the almanac is like 97% accurate. The Weather Channel is like 80% to 85% accurate. Right? So maybe the Weather Channel needs to go read the almanac.
Indeed. Wow. What we talk about, sun gazing. Some people talk about moon gazing. Is there anything, do you think viewing the northern lights, looking at them physically with your eyes, what kind of impact does that have on your body? Like really gazing at it like you would sun gaze?
Well, let's do this. You ever see them where they put the goggles on with the colors flashing and then they play a tone in your ear?
Yeah. What that got a name, don't it?
Yeah, I just can't remember it right now.
Shit, but yeah.
Anyway, they put them in there normally to balance the hemispheres of the brain. Right. And they're using the light show and the sound show at the same time to play on more than one sense to make it permeate deeper. When you're looking at different color lights, they got different effects on you. Different colors have different effects. They call it color psychology. So when you're looking at those northern lights, not only can you read the energy frequency by the color, it also does something to you by the color as well. Remember in 1999, the sky was all purple. There was people running everywhere. What they talking about? And when you look out there now, the sky is all purple and people running around talking about, you see that? Right. Maybe the song was an exaggeration of a lesser event.
Word, right?
You know?
You talk about a kaleidoscope? Is that the name of it? Kaleidoscope?
No, that's that little thing that you get when you're little and it got all of the funny shapes that come.
Right.
But those are also formed with color.
Right.
Right. So when we looking at different colors, remember the optic nerve ain't just reading the image. It's reading the color. It's reading the distance. And it's also reading the entropy of the color as it returns to the optic nerve. By distance, he know how much of the color in order to adjust it to match the background color. Right? That's why you can have two different greens on top of each other and you can clearly see them. They not the same, but they both green. You know? So it's like with the human. Before we was iron-based, our melanin made us shades of blue and green.
Right.
Gilbert Blair used to talk about that.
Right.
What made us iron-based again? I think I talked to you about this on the phone one time. What made us iron-based?
Well, it was from altering the DNA. It's a combination of factors. Altering the DNA, taking the double oxygen molecule that used to be down to the surface, now it's only to the ozone layer. So now you breathe in O1 instead of O2. Or just O.
Right.
It's all these things changes the physiology. When you start tampering with the DNA and the DNA begin to upgrade. And it's also from everybody coming in human form, you can't come in your mythic form. But you can still see peering through the mythic form of the ancestor that's incarnated.
Right.
So when we get caught up thinking that fairies ain't real, they just look like little people now. Right? Elves and gnomes, we call them dwarfs. Right? And them big Shrek looking people, you see them all the time. Look big goofies. You know? All of the mythic forms is in human form, but because it's built around the spirit self, the mythic form can be seen peering through the face of the human. Mermaid, the Lyran,
all that.
Right? You can see it peering through the face of the human, and it causes the general structure of the facial cranial features to develop into what they develop into.
Is that why when you look in the mirror for an extended period of time, you might be able to see a mythic form, some people say?
Yeah.
Like people, it's a person
because you begin to peer.
You know, I seen the devil, I seen an evil entity. Is that just their mythic form?
Beyond the veil, and they start seeing their
they looking at themselves.
Right.
So, especially when you
look, the first time you face to face with yourself, for real, for some people, that's the most terrifying reality they'll ever have. Being face to face with themselves. We call it shadow work. We call it facing your inner demons.
Right. I talked about this on the show with again. I'd say it later. I want to tell people something. Okay, right.
So when you start facing all of the stuff, you like, for instance, the same person that can't stand so and so because they always sticking their fingers in the pot, walk right behind them, and they mad because they didn't stick their fingers in the pot first.
Woo.
But they want to complain about him sticking his fingers in the pot, so they don't seem petty by just complaining about him sticking his fingers in the pot first.
Oh man, some hella psychology. Some hella psychology.
All this stuff is to scramble the mind and keep us confused as to who we are, what's going on, and everything gonna be all right. And it ain't no doomsday prophecy. All them doomsday sayers and all that, they probably gonna be the ones with the doomsday for the dirt they did. But the rest of us regular people, the average person is inherently good. It's the exception to the rule when you come up with the rotten, the no good people, the ones that sell you out for a little bit of nothing. That's not the norm. But the damage they do is so catastrophic that it becomes common knowledge that they exist. We all know it. When this dude come around, guys start tucking their chains in like Debo coming. It's a Debo in every hood. And it's a Craig in every hood waiting to bust him in the face with a brick.
Yeah.
Who don't really want it, but he ain't backing down.
Indeed. So we started out early in the conversation talking about music. Blue, I talked to you briefly a little earlier on the phone, and you mentioned the sound of the Northern Lights, the sound that it actually makes. So if we could talk about the sound that is produced by this stellar event. Somebody earlier said that it was loud in Arizona when they seen the Northern Lights. What's the deal with the sound that these Northern Lights make? Can we talk about that for a second?
Again, the emanation of light, right? It creates a sound because there's an oscillation involved. We're speaking about waves, and waves create sound waves. So the information that is being relayed is the actual conversation that's being had. The way that we pick it up in terms of tonality, we call it, it's music. It's just, it's the music of the spheres, if you will. So once again, they said that there's a collision of magnetic fields. The sun's magnetic field is colliding with Earth's magnetic field, and they are making a quote unquote a sound, or they're making beautiful quote unquote music based on the information relay that's taking place. That's a whole language. And once again, I would ask, based on cymatics, if sound and light can create matter and form, and we are ourselves forms and vessels, if we are absorbing these sounds, what is it doing to us? What conversation are we having with these cosmic rays? Because that sound is information. We're just hearing it.
Indeed. Did you feel extra tired today, Rod? They said some people was feeling tired as a result. Any symptoms you personally feeling?
I'd be having a histamine response more than anything else. When the energy started moving, it give me a histamine response. It made me start itching all over. But it ain't a regular itch.
Somebody was speaking about the effect that it has on pollen as well. I don't have sinuses or anything of that nature, so I can't relate. But some people in my chat earlier, they were speaking about it has a positive effect on the pollen count. It's like my pollen ain't that bad right now. So,
but really, that's the ionization. Because remember, bees use pollen to fertilize flowers, right? The coals have to upgrade all genetic matter. Flowers are genetic matter. So the pollen being ionized by those same energies is giving it a whole bunch of what we call neutral additions to it in order for it to transport more information in the genetic field, right? So you can only do two things. You could go to war, or you can make love. You can't do both at the same time, right? And if the flower is defending itself, the pollen is an agitator. But if the pollen is upgraded for a special reproductive purpose, now it's not an adjutant, right? It's more conducive than it is agitate. Right? We need more bee farmers. We need to put an APB out on all sisters that want to raise bees. We need way more bee farmers. We don't have enough.
We know that's the underlying, undergirding support system of nature is the bees. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely should be looking at bee activity, because bees also will tell you a lot about the magnetic field. That's what they utilize to operate, you know. So
And
bees,
remember, they're making honey out of this ionized pollen too.
That's right.
Ooh, wow.
Let me just, real quick, with the brother, based on what he has shared with us this particular evening, and the understanding of how this electromagnetism interplay with the core of the planet, and goes back and forth. The best suggestion I would definitely have for people is to go outside and ground tomorrow morning. If you could get out and sun gaze, that would be a beautiful thing in addition to grounding. But definitely make sure you put your soul, you touch some grass so you can absorb through your soles, through the soles of your feet, is how you absorb this latent information that is now, abundant on the surface of the earth. Yes.
I was just telling who was I telling last week? I had somebody on the show, and I was telling them how I started growing shrooms in my front yard. They just started coming up. Right. And it happened last year real quick, but now it's just like it's growing a lot. Out the blue. Shrooms just started coming up in the front. It's amazing to see them grow, because they grow overnight, and by the morning they fully bloom. You're like, where the hell this came from? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, some interesting things happen.
Right. So the beauty, the analogy of what you are witnessing with the fungus is how thoughts are manifesting right now. That's how magnetic the field is. When you speak on something nowadays, bam, it's manifesting instantaneously. So be very mindful and guarded with your thoughts. And we seen that last week, like we said, not only last week, but for a pocket of time, we've been bombarded by Gemini energy. And Gemini is the mind, is mercurial. We're heading into Gemini season. We haven't even seen the totality of what we're about to see based on what you said. They got the dragon trap between the pillars. Gemini energy is also Trump. I don't, what I mean? I can't. I don't even know if y'all want to get into politics about what's taking place right now, but very mindful. It's very important that we at least stay abreast of the news and its developments, because these mercurial figures are very much playing into the mythos. This is a mythos that's playing out. It's the collective hero's journey of a people whose date with destiny is definitely, coming up. And there's a lot of the mind decisions have to be made by our people. Right. And those decisions are best informed when they have information about who they are, what their assignments are. They got a brief window now, right, in this Taurus season, where people are doing Google searches just based on this battle last week. They on Rap Genius, reading double entendres. They're educating themselves. They into bars and lyricism again. People want to know what the meanings of these words were that they heard but didn't yet. They saying Elohim, what's that? So there's an interesting conversation. Our people, once again, realizing what their collective power is, when they said they not like us, and then they shut down Vlad, to be like, yo, this conversation don't have nothing to do with you. And they said it firmly. You know what I'm saying? And they stood on business, and they were able to make him do something that he does not do, which is issue that apology and capitulate and fall on his sword, right? For attempting to go after one of our own. Our people finally found their, the gumption to stand on business as a collective and utilize social media as a bullhorn, as a platform. And that's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying?
Indeed. Let me get to a few questions. I got about 15 minutes left. Let me get to a few questions before we get out of here. Let me put I see somebody asked about Rod's Cash App. I'm gonna put Rod Hayes and Blue Pills join up on the screen real quick. I know Rod is sick, Ape. And give me some questions, fam, while I'm doing this. Give me some questions Let me see. Blue pill is. What's your Cash App, Blue Pill?
Blue Pillar $44 sign.
Oh, so all right, yeah, all right, family. If y'all wanna support these brothers real quick, hit up Cash App real quick, family. $ Sick Ape. That's Rod Hayes joint, and Blue Pill is $ Blue Pillar 44. I mean, these are just the year started out, man, with Rod talking about the Maherta, and the year just has not let up. It's just been nonstop action, fast paced this year. I mean, 2024, what a year, right? What a year. 2024. Wow, what a year. We're gonna get to a few questions before we get out of here. Once again, if you want to support the brothers, Rod Hayes Cash App is Sick Ape, $SIKAPE. Blue Pill is $ Blue Pillar 44. Let's get to these questions. All right. Somebody wants to know, will this event affect the appetite?
Some people, you gotta follow. You can start eating by doing. Start eating by instinct. If you ain't hungry, don't eat. If you're hungry, eat. But your appetite can be affected, and sometimes some of us won't be able to eat for days at a time, and then sometimes we be gorging for 3 days in a row. So the energy gonna move you what to eat, when to eat, because you're gonna have a unnatural craving for something. That means go get that. Right.
Yeah.
All that's part of spiritual awakening. Because your body know where chemicals at in the food that you ain't and didn't even know was in the food.
That you need, right?
Yeah. So when you're going through an awakening, you had them strange cravings. I want to eat pickles and cucumbers dipped in ranch. I ain't never ate that shit before. Now all of a sudden I want that shit. Right? Because now something in my memory in my body saying the last time we was able to find that combination, it was in the pickle and it was in a cucumber. And it was something in the ranch that made it palatable. Right? So the body is talking to us. If we don't listen, then we don't listen. But it will affect appetite. Sometimes it'll give you a redundant appetite where you only want to eat one thing most of the time.
Indeed. All right, let's Blue, you want to add on to that, or you want to go on to the next one?
Again, he said, as he said, it's a personal journey and a personal decision based on a person knowing where their spiritual aptitude is at in the moment. Me personally, I would eat light. I would attempt to, because I understand this whole aspect of the body being able to use energy and retain energy. So I wouldn't necessarily want to eat anything heavy right now. I won't want to keep the body open to these downloads. But I'm also going to obey my body. If my body say, this is what we need, like he said, think about the body the way that we're being taught about ChatGPT, right? They might source two different things to come up with a conclusion for an answer. So if the body's looking for certain minerals to qualify, it knows, like he said, from memory, because when you touch things or you taste things, you lodge a memory. So it's like, we're going to take, we need this particular mineral that you can find in cucumber and this particular mineral that might be in ranch. And we're going to put those two together, and then it gives you an image, it kicks it out, right? A prompt, and then it prompts you to go and find that. So you can qualify what it needs to be complete. It's your AI agent. That's how these computer things are working based on them studying the physiology and the biology of our bodies.
Indeed.
Look, somebody in comments said pickle is a cucumber. Well, I'm glad they mentioned that because people don't understand when you process the cucumber into the pickle, it changes the chemical composition of the cucumber.
It does.
So what was in the pickle ain't in the cucumber. And what's in the cucumber is no longer in the pickle.
Two different, right?
Right. So because the chemistry's been changed.
Right.
So the body will put that together. Boom, boom, boom.
Damn.
And tell you.
Right. Pickling something is a process, like you said. That's a specific process on changing something into something a little bit more acidic, because you pickled it. So yeah, that the body knows the difference.
All right. Somebody wants to know: are there any rituals we should be doing to get those downloads from the auric field? The auric field blue pillar was speaking of.
Again, I would best suggest that you ground. You take your shoes off and you go and stand on uh, earth, dirt, open fields. You do it at least for 10 to 15 minutes, and you're not looking for anything specific. You're just being present in the moment. You're allowing your body to absorb through the base of your feet, which is an opening. It's an opening that exposes your entire body through the base of your feet, through the soles of your feet, through your soles of your feet. All organs are accessible through the base and sole of your feet. So when you absorbing that latent electromagnetic energy off of the earth, you are pulling it up into your vessel and recharging your vessel and filling in any needed gaps. You know what I'm saying? And also processing and accessing this information. So just charge up, get some information. If you sun gaze, I would recommend that you go out in the morning and you sun gaze. You know what I'm saying? If you don't and you want to look into it, proceed with caution. Follow whatever instructions that you find that are best qualified. Read a review of a review, and go for it. You dig what I'm saying? Other than that, if you are active, right, get in the field. If you hit the gym with extra vigor. You know what I'm saying? Anything that you need to do to process energy into activity, that's what you should be doing.
Is there any spiritual advantage, y'all, of putting, we've seen people and other coaches do this before. Since, a lot of people talk about grounding, putting dirt all over your face, just putting the dirt. What does that do? You feel?
That's a ritual in and unto itself. And then different cultures do it for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right. When you read about them doing it in, I think it's the book of Obadiah in the Bible, they're doing it to represent grief.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to India, they put the sacred ash on their face.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that's because Hanuman covered his whole body with sacred ash because he say, the way I'm made, I need a whole bunch of blessing. So he said, if a little bit of it is good, I got to cover myself with it because I need a whole lot of it for what I am. Right. And then you have the monks that emulate that. So you got different causes, different purposes for putting the dirts and the ashes on your skin. And some African tribes, they turn the ash into paint and put art on their face. Right. But it's all for a different purpose. Peel mentioned something a minute ago about the feet. A lot of people don't know you have a chakra in the instep of your foot on both feet. Just like you have a chakra in each of the palms of your hand. Mm-hmm. And when you grounding, the earth is the most stable energy on earth. Everything else that's stable on earth had to be attached to the earth for stability. So if the energy is the most stable energy and you going through an awakening, you need to tie into the great stabilizer. The other strategy is the trees. Put your feet on the ground, sit at the bottom of the tree and lean your back against it. The tree and the earth is the two most stable energies we know of because the nature of the tree is the stable energy. That's why the roots have to dig deep the higher the tree go. Mm-hmm. As above, so below, maintaining the balance. Mm-hmm. As far as for people ask for rituals, everybody got different spiritual paths that they walk. We can't give them one ritual for everybody because your energy, you have to be into the ritual in order for it to be effective. If you faking it, the spirit gonna say, oh, he don't mean it, so don't do nothing about that. Mm-hmm. Right? But soon as you sincere, that's the feather of the heart and the weighing of the heart. It's your pure intentions. So if your pure intentions instruct you that you need to do a ritual, do the ritual however you feel like doing it. The most potent ritual anyway is the one you write for yourself. Mm-hmm. That's what they don't want you to know, so you can rely on their religious constructs and give all the energy to them that you can be using to make your best life. Keep your energy. Write your own ritual. Write
Real
your
quick,
own sigils.
in
Shout out to
addition to what we were speaking about in terms of absorbing latent energy through the soles of our feet, and you asking about people putting clay on their face or ashes, the Maasai tribe, they do it in red, and the red clay denotes that they're going to be absorbing iron from the dirt, right? Just like we got red clay in Atlanta, just like they got red clay in Arizona. So this quote, this
And
caption right,
everywhere in the middle.
and everywhere in the middle, exactly, that melanated women specifically used to eat clay or they would eat dirt, right, in the South when they were pregnant, because their body, based on them working in the dirt or working the soil at one point, anything that your finger touches, you are cataloging a memory in your brain. Your when your finger touches it, it scans it and it already knows what it's made of and what it needs. That is also lodged in the memory. So when the body is saying, go eat the dirt, the body's looking to get the mineral. And the mother will eat the dirt or eat the soil just to extract the mineral so she can continue repairing and putting together that child. And she'll have no shame.
man.
Look, I know people in the North that come from the South that send home for the dirt.
Send home for the dirt.
That's some real shit.
It's a fact. When I was in Sedona, I wanted to be buried in the dirt. That's how it felt like, red powder. And but it was so cool when you stood on the earth. It was 90 something degrees outside, but the plane, the earth plane was so cool. And I was just like, just bury me in this for like 2 or 3 hours and come back. You know what I'm saying? That's how inviting it was. But I really must have needed some of the minerals because I wanted to be fully immersed in the earth.
And it also could have been your genetic memory reminding you of something you did in the past life.
Yes.
Indeed. Let's we're gonna do one more question, then we're gonna get out of here, family. Let's see. Shout out to I didn't get a chance to say shout out to Lucinda for the $3 super chat and Cynthia for the super chat. I appreciate it. All right. We're gonna do 2 questions real quick. Let's how do you overcome your inner demons? Anna wants to know how to overcome her inner demons.
Look, anytime you dealing with your inner demons, the first place to start is not gonna be how you gonna. But the first thing that you have to do is everything you hate in other people, make sure that it's not in you. That's your first step. Because your inner demon is the one always tricking you that you the one right when you wrong as hell.
Damn.
That's the first step. That's all you can do is take the first step and the next step to follow. Once you go in a direction, you're going to start walking the path. So you go through them first. See if you got any of that. You a kleptomaniac? You a sex addict? You know, go through the 7 deadly sins. You a glutton? You lazy? Then fight that shit. If you find that you inherently lazy, every day find something to do. Because now you are overriding that negative trait, and that's called slaying your inner demon. Also, your inner demon is unresolved traumas. As long as the unresolved trauma continue to affect your present life, you living with a demon on your back.
All right, let's
and yeah, you got to confront that demon. And one of the suggestions made earlier, that might be one of the best ways. Lock yourself in the bathroom, right? Do what you do to focalize yourself. Some people get high as a kite to do it. Some people are just that sincere about wanting to confront their demon and look in that mirror and speak to that demon. Develop a big homie voice in your head that you can speak to that part of yourself that you know is weak. Because if the demon is strong, you've already lost. You got to speak to the demon like it's weak. You got to start speaking to yourself. What are the things about yourself that make you most uncomfortable? Because those are the things in other people that are making you comfortable. What is it about you that makes you uncomfortable? Ask yourself, why is it? Ask yourself, what do you need to do about it? And then command yourself to get it done. Start speaking to that demon like it's your little nigga and subordinate it. Put it in the place that it deserves to be. You know, I'll call you forward when I need you. Other than that, fall to the back. So shut your ass up and go make some beats or something, like, you know.
Metro Boomin.
And look, most of those demons are generational curses, which is energy from an ancestor. Your alcoholic ancestor don't want nothing more than for you to be an alcoholic like him to validate his fuck up. All the rest of your ancestors saying, don't listen to that alcoholic ass nigga. He gonna have you strung out in alcohol, right? And as soon as you tell that alcoholic ancestor, I ain't finna be participating in that shit, then all of the rest of the ancestors start serving as your spiritual protection to make you go sit your punk ass down. You heard the baby say she don't want nothing to do with you. Go sit your drunk ass down somewhere. You're not finna get the baby intoxicated on alcohol for the rest of her life. They'll correct it for you if you strap on your ovaries or testicles enough to tell that energy, I don't want you to use me as your outlet. Just that's like you got good ancestors, you got some foul motherfuckers too.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't confront the foul motherfuckers, your good ancestors can't say nothing to them.
Right.
You got to defend yourself in order for them to defend you.
Facts.
Some real shit, Rod.
And the
yeah, that's the shit people don't want to hear.
Yeah.
I don't hear nobody talk about bad ancestors. I just hear ancestors, ancestors.
Yeah.
I love it.
Because everybody wanted to be all peaches and cream. Half of these niggas' ancestors was the ones that sold out everybody else on the plantation.
Mm.
And now they over here trying to convince us that we from somewhere else so they can support that same bloodline bullshit.
Mm.
You think that energy just stopped because that person died? They pass that shit on, contagion, aberration.
Whew.
Passing them psychological defects down family lines like they passing the flu.
Somebody asked a good question, and they said, what if it's their direct blood lineage, like their mother, their aunt, their father, and they're no longer here, and these people are just living with the trauma? And I was suggesting,
you still got to address that energy, though.
Right, cutting of the cord ceremony, you got to let her go by forgiving her, forgiving yourself, because ultimately you contracted and chose to come through her. So you have to take ownership and strength back by taking some aspect of responsibility, right? That's the only way that you can start taking things back that you feel traumatized by. Step into a place of ownership, and then you grant a forgiveness to her. Let her go.
That's the hard part, because we've been taught to stay in the position of victim for so long that when it comes time for us to not be a victim, it leaves a void. We don't know what to replace it with. And it leaves a void. You have to find enough self-esteem in yourself, call your good ancestors to run your bad ancestors away. If you had issues with your mama and daddy, your granny, tell your mama, come get your daughter. She ain't right. You tell your daddy, come get your son. He ain't acting right. He trying to get me to hold on to this traumatic bullshit. I don't want to hold on to it. The only reason why we tormented by it, because we keep reliving it. You can't undo it. You got to come to that realization. Since you can't undo it, then you have to surrender the hold that it have on you, because you can't undo it. It already happened. Right? And because it already happened, you're not going to change it from already being done took place. You can only rechange how you respond to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's just like now, person walk up to me on some shenanigans, I'm going to give them every out before I chop them in the throat. But believe me, I can't wait till that last out is up so I can chop them in the throat. But I still got to do my due diligence to peacefully resolve the matter.
Right.
And when I see that me peacefully resolving the matter not going to work, throat chop. Lead with love, but master the throat punch.
Mm-hmm.
Because just because you trying to be righteous don't mean you ain't gonna have to chop somebody in their throat or push their snot box back. That might happen. You think all these preachers, you don't think none of them get down and get down with you? They come from the block.
Right, yeah.
Some of these preachers will whoop the brakes off some of these gangsters.
Right.
But because he thought that the church was the right way, he tried to change his life. You taking his kindness for weakness as if he wasn't a goon in his younger days. That's the same with people like us. I know I can look at Blue Pill and tell what he came through that was similar to what I came through. Same with you, Rich. And then it automatically give me an automatic built-in respect because, man, against all odds, we ain't even supposed to be here.
Not doing this.
Every prophecy about our lives when we was growing up, they said we wasn't going to make it to C21.
Yeah.
I'm 55 years old. How the hell I get here?
Do a lot. Right, that part.
You know what I mean? So that in itself, and then when I see y'all, I know y'all done been through similar background because we all have. And I was like, man, we got to be some cold pieces of work because we done went through some stuff and we still here. We ain't supposed to be here.
Right.
But we supposed to be here.
We're here giving as well. You know, even with all we've been through, we never gave up. You know what I'm saying? So we still here giving. And that's a beautiful thing. And I want to thank you, brothers, for this amazing opportunity tonight to bring some light in addition to the light that's bombarding the planet. You know, now we're able to organize it and give it some context. It's a beautiful thing.
Oh yeah. We're gonna end it with this last question real quick. I just talked about this with Billy the other day, Billy Carson. We had a show on the Merkaba. Somebody said off topic, but what's a great way to activate your Merkaba or Merkaba?
Merkaba.
The thing about activating the Merkaba, the average person right now is too lazy. We too fast food culture. The first thing you have to do is center all your energy to core. And that requires a certain level of discipline and mental control that the average person, when they start applying that level of discipline and mental control, abandon the project. It's hard. But goddamn right it's hard. Or else everybody have an active Merkaba if it wasn't hard.
That part.
And we always want the easy way to get it. Some stuff I can give you a shortcut. Like in resolving past trauma, when you look at life as life resistance exercises, the more trauma you went through, the stronger you had to be for the job you got coming up. If you look at it from that perspective, your past traumas become the weight in the weight room. Every time you leave the weight room, you don't take the weight with you. You just go in there to pick stuff up, put stuff down, and build your body. Your life resistance exercise is the trauma you left behind. You lifted it while you was going through it. You done with that now. Move on to your next set and your next program. It's supposed to be hard. It's supposed to be painful. You gotta remember, we ain't got no emotions when we ain't in the physical. So we can't live in our emotions while we in the physical. We use our emotions to navigate life. It's a difference. If you're living in an emotion, you stuck in that emotion. It's the same as a car being stuck in one gear. Transmission need to be fixed. In this case, the transmission that needs fixing is the internal communication with the self. You got to ask yourself, do I want to remain the victim or do I want to turn myself into a conqueror? That's your choice.
Person.
You know, so activating the Merkaba is not easy. I can give you 1,000 tips all day long about doing this part to activate this and all that. But most people are not going to do all that shit. It's too much stuff. It's just too much stuff. They're not going to do it. It's just like people be coming on Chief Whatnot asking him about his airbending, how long it take him. He said, I've been doing this for this long. They said, that's too long. You got to start somewhere.
Mm.
Nobody won't take the first step, and they wonder why they can't get the journey of 1,000 miles completed. Because you won't take the first step. If you take the first step, you might end up on the curb in front of a taxi that's there to take you to the airplane to get you on the third journey to 1,000 miles in short order. But you thinking that the only way is to walk because you cut off your vision. But when you make the step in the direction of the journey, the road opens itself up. You don't have to open it.
Mm.
It's the same with developing any spiritual faculty. You got to be willing to take the first step. And then you got to be disciplined enough to continue to walk. As you learn, each step got a different angle that you got to step. Right? And the more that you do that, the more you begin to see this shit easy as hell. I just was too lazy to do it.
Yeah.
Yes. The magic is in the momentum. So the answer that one is looking for is a longer journey that one should be willing to take. Let's start with breathing. I was just looking at our video from 7 years ago, Brother Rich, when we were breathing in the park with the children.
Yeah.
Because I was about to update it and do a breathing technique, based on, do another breathing video based on some new techniques I've been learning in the gym, how to do double and triple breaths. The things that are necessary and needed to take it to that next level, that Uber level. And like Brother Rod said, very few people have that level of discipline to turn themselves into the machine and the mechanism that's necessary to activate their Merkaba. But one of the key ways is to really first focus on diaphragmic breathing, because it's going to, visualization and breathing are two of the things that are going to be of the utmost importance to activate the Merkaba from the discipline that I was taught. You know what I mean? Like you said, there's different ways that people teach it. But I'm definitely going to be doing an updated video on breathing. It's going to be like a breathing 2.0 though. This is not necessarily for beginners, but I want to offer what I know.
Indeed. Wow. Before we get out of here, y'all want to leave your contact info for the people so they could reach out to y'all?
Yes, mine is at Blue Pillar 44. That's on Instagram, X, Threads, and I believe TikTok. Bluepillar44 at gmail.com if you have any inquiries, any booking inquiries, what have you. And Black Cloud ENT.bandzoogle, spelled like google.com, is where you can find me and Red's new project. We got the 48 Pillars of Power along with an ebook that is the hip hop handbook. It's like written like the art of war, and everything that we said in that book played out last week, you know what I'm saying, in this situation. It puts it into context. So that's Black Cloud. It's cloud is spelled KLOWD, and it's ENT.bandzoogle, spelled like google.com. Peace.
Yeah, I'm easier to find, less information. I'm on Instagram, at the Sick 8, and on Rod Hayes on Facebook. Otherwise, y'all can catch me over here on Brother Rich, or y'all catch me on the Young Elder.
Indeed. And also, family, just a reminder, Rod Hayes will be on Patreon this Tuesday. We're doing a show. It's called They're Not Like Us. And we're going to be talking about some things that isn't YouTube friendly. So this is going to be one of them ones that's, it's perfect.
I'm glad you said that, Rich.
Yeah, it's perfect for the... You get it, right?
Yeah, they be wanting to give us a hard time for the Patreon. They don't know the Patreon is for the stuff we can't talk about on YouTube without getting the channel shut down.
Oh yeah.
So you had to go to another channel where the people can access the information and still get it without it being censored. Mm-hmm. And we supposed to have freedom of speech. Lying ass bastards.
Blue, Hank's channel is suspended, man, right now. Hank,
I didn't know that.
From that 2020 thing, the Jabberwocky.
Wow,
an old video at that.
Oh yeah, that's upsetting. The only thing that we can do is work on a solution, and You know, me and Red have been working on something that's about to materialize. And we'll get the last laugh. I mean, you know, we have to come up with a resolution. This is our challenge because we make great content and we know the value that we bring to it is never going to equate to what YouTube can compensate us for anyway. So we're doing them a favor and getting spat at in our face, and they playing in our face. But the only
and making plenty money off us.
Plenty.
That we don't see.
No, we don't.
It's some beautiful things down the pipeline. What you say, Rod?
Yeah. Oh, look, Rich, all them advertisements are gonna come up on your page on this show. They're not gonna give you none of that money. You gotta remember, all them people that's advertising got $20 and $30 million deals to pay YouTube. They're not finna give us none of that money. None.
Yeah, that's this whole advertising. It's a whole nother conversation, y'all. But we gonna figure all this shit out, y'all. It's our destiny. So we're gonna figure this whole thing out. Want to thank y'all for tuning in. This Northern Light weekend, man. There's some beautiful things happening out there. Want to thank once again Rod Hayes Blue Pill for coming on the show. Oh, and also Rod will be back on Friday. So Rod's gonna be on the Patreon. We're gonna do our show that we can't do on YouTube, but we're gonna have a one of our deep metaphysical conversations next Friday on the YouTube. So what's the Patreon is the same as my the name of my channel, Black Magic 363. You just go to patreon.com/blackmagic363. It's not on there now. We're gonna do it on Tuesday, and it'll be up by Tuesday night. All right, but yeah, he'll be back on the channel Friday. We're gonna be kicking it on Friday. But in the meantime, I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Saturday night, all y'all enjoy your Saturday night. Red and blue. I'm saying red and blue. Blue and Rod. I'm see you.
Hey, one thing before we leave, we talking about the aurora borealis, the northern lights. Have you been watching Blue Pill Hair this whole time?
Yeah, man. It's in the cosmos, man.
Enjoying the aurora borealis, huh?
Oh
yeah.
That's a beautiful
Imagine
thing.
the earth, the hair is the trees.
True.
Yeah, like the hair is like phosphorus. So my hair is already like a light box. And when light hits it, it emanates different spectrums. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm like, all of these beautiful features about ourselves, like, let's really take stock of this. If we children of the sun, if that's our energy source, let's eat food. You feel me? But let's level up and remind ourselves why they are not like us.
On that note, we signing out, family. See you next week, y'all. Take care. And happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. Y'all enjoy your day tomorrow.
Happy day. Peace.
All right. All right. Peace, family.
Peace.